So, my greatest Olympic prize by Jesse Owens. Story number 9. It was the summer of 1936. The Olympic Games were being held in Berlin because Hitler childishly insisted that his performers were members of master race. Nationalistic feelings were at an all-time high. So what is given? That it was the summer of 1936 and the Olympic Games were being held in Berlin. Okay, so Olympic Games were there. So that was going to take place in Berlin in the year 1936. And because Hitler childishly insisted that his performers were members of master race, that Hitler was there and Hitler's thought, that is what his intention was, what his mind was, that what kind of thought he was having, that his thought was that his performers, that is the performers, the participants from his place, he was thinking that they are the member of master race, that is nobody can beat them. Okay, and why it was being held, Olympics was being held there in the Berlin? Because he only insisted and he was with the thought that no one can beat them. And nationalistic feelings were at an all-time high, and the nationalistic feeling, that is the feeling of nationalism, was all-time high during that time as well. Okay, that is Hitler was so much fond of the games that he never wanted also that others may beat the participant who belonged to his place. Then I wasn't too worried about all this. I'd trained, sweated and disciplined myself for 6 years with the games in mind. While I was going over on the boat, all I could think about was taking home one or two of those gold medals. I had my eye especially on the running broad jump. A year before, as a sophomore of Ohio State University, I had set the world's record of 26 feet 8 1/4 inches. Everyone kind of expected me to win that Olympic events hands down. Okay, now what is given? Now who is the author of this story? Author here is Jesse Owens. That is the main character of this story is himself narrating this story. He himself is telling about his own experiences that he faced during that time. Okay, so Jesse Owens is an African American, that is yesterday I sent the recording in that his introduction is given that who is Jesse Owens. He is an African American, that is he is a black man. Okay, and so two major characters are there in this story. One is Jesse Owens, who is an African American, he is a black man, and the other one is Les Long. Okay, Les Long is a German athlete. Okay, then here I wasn't too worried about all this. So here Jesse Owens says that I was not worried about all this. About what he was not worried? That is listening about the Hitler's thought that his participants, his performers are the members of master race. Okay, so Jesse Owens was not worried about all these things. I had trained, sweated and disciplined myself for 6 years. Now what he writes about himself, that is I was not worried because I was very much confident. Okay, because I had worked a lot, I had sweated, that is I had worked a lot and trained myself and disciplined myself for 6 years. With the games in mind, that is with the games in mind that he was having in his mind that how one can defeat his rival or how one can win the game easily. So while I was going over on the boat, all I could think about was taking home one or two of those gold medals. Then what he writes, that is while coming to this place, while coming to Berlin, so what he was having in his mind, what kind of thoughts he was having in his mind, that is while returning, okay, that after the games while returning, I am sure to take one or two gold medals with me. He was so much confident about his training, about his hard work. I had my eye specially on the running broad jump. Now he tells that my eye was specially there on the running broad jump. That is, he was very much confident that in this particular event broad jump, I will surely get gold. And then a year before, as a sophomore of Ohio State University, I had set the world's record of 26 feet 8 upon 4 inches. And then what he tells, that is why he was confident on this broad jump, running broad jump. He was confident because a year before only, as he was studying there, as he was the sophomore at Ohio State University. Sophomore means that is a student studying in the second year in any of the university. Okay, so as he was the student of second year there at the Ohio State University, so at that time he had taken part in the game, and in that he had broken the world record of 26 8 1 upon 4 inches. And then everyone kind of expected me to win that Olympic event hands down, and because of this only everyone was confident, everyone was having confidence on him that easily he will be able to get gold prize in the Olympics, particularly in this event. Okay, is it clear? Clear, Shlok? Yes. Then I was in for a surprise when the time came for the broad jump trials. I was startled to see a tall boy hitting the pit at almost 26 feet on his practice leaps. He turned out to be a German named Leslong. I was told that Hitler had kept him under wraps, evidently hoping to win the jump with him. Now, what is given in the next paragraph? That I was in for a surprise. Now, what happened? That now he was surprised very much afterwards. When the time came for the broad jump trials, that is when the time came to appear in this event, broad jump trials, so he was surprised to look at something. And what was that? That I was startled to see a tall boy hitting the pit at almost 26 feet on his practice leaps. That is, during the practices only, he could see that one man was there, one participant was there. He was easily able to take 26 feet. Okay. And then he turned out to be a German named Leslong. And then when he inquired, then what he found, that who is this fellow, that his name is Leslong and he is a German. I was told that Hitler had kept him under wraps, and then later he came to know from the others that Hitler had kept him hidden from everyone. Okay, that is, kept him under wraps, evidently hoping to win the jump with him, and especially he was kept hidden so that I could be beaten from him. Okay, that he may win in this event as well. That's why he was kept hidden by Hitler. I guessed that if Long won, it would add some new support to the Nazis' Aryan superiority theory. After all, I am a Negro, a little hot under the collar about Hitler's ways. I determined to go out there and really show Der Führer and his master race who was superior and who wasn't. So what is given? That I guessed. Now what Jesse Owens says, that I guessed that if Long won, that is, if Long means Leslong, other participant, German participant. So if he wins, then it would add some more new support to the Nazis' Aryan superiority theory. Now what Jesse Owens was thinking, that if in case it happened, okay, in case it happened that Leslong beats me there in this event also, so what will happen? That it will add some more power to the Aryan supremacy theory. And now what is this theory? That Nazis' Aryan superiority theory, that during that time there was vast difference between black and the whites. Okay, so he was thinking that at this moment also, in this event also, if I will be beaten, then what will happen? Then they will think that yes, we are superiority, and it will be proved little bit. Okay, and then after all, I am a Negro, and after all, what Jesse Owens says, that I am a Negro, that I am a black. Okay, and then a little hot under the collar about Hitler's ways, I determined to go out there and really show Der Führer and his master race who was superior and who wasn't. But this man, Jesse Owens, he was very confident. He was determined to win, and then he wanted to show that yes, I will go and I will take part in the event and I will win also, and I will show this to Der Führer. Der Führer means it is mentioned for Hitler. That is, I am determined to go and show Hitler that who is superior and who is not. Okay. Then next paragraph. Clear? Tanzil? Getting? Now, an angry athlete is an athlete who will make mistakes, as any coach will tell you. I was no exception. On the first of my 3 qualifying jumps, I leaped from several inches beyond the takeoff board for a fall. On the second jump, I fouled even worse. Did I come 3000 miles for this? I thought bitterly. To foul out of the trials and make a fool of myself. Now, what happened after this? What he says, Jesse Owens, that an angry athlete is an athlete who will make mistakes, as any coach will tell you. Okay, now what he tells, that is, if an athlete takes part, okay, if an athlete plays, if he takes part and performs, then what will happen? If he is not in his mood, good mood, and if he is angry, then it is sure that he will make a mistake. And with this, he was also not exception. That is, it same thing happened with him also, that he made mistake because he was angry. Why he was angry? By looking at the Leslong. Okay, because he had seen that Hitler has kept his participant hidden from others so that I can be beaten. So he was somewhere in his mind, he was not at peace. Okay, so he was also not exception. On the first of my 3 qualifying jumps, I leaped from several inches beyond the takeoff board for a foul. So 3 attempts were there, 3 attempts were given to them, and on the first attempt what he did, that is from where he had to jump, okay, from the point where he had to jump, so he remained little beyond, and that's why he made a foul. And then, so on the second jump, I fouled even worse, and in the second chance, he fouled even worse than before. So did I come 3000 miles for this? Now, at this moment what happened? He didn't qualify for that, for his chance, and then he thought to himself that I have crossed a distance of 3000 miles, and have I come for this, to make a foul over here, and to foul out of the trials and make a fool of myself. That is, in the trials also I will come out of the event. I won't be able to take part in the finals also. Walking a few yards, so after 2 trials, now he was thinking this. He was having one more chance. So walking a few yards from the pit, I kicked disgustedly at the dirt. Suddenly I felt a hand on my shoulder. I turned to look into the friendly blue eyes of the tall German broad jumper. He had easily qualified for the finals on his first attempt. He offered me a firm handshake. Okay, now what happened? So after his 2 chances, as he was little bit upset, we can say, so he was walking a few yards away from the pit. I kicked disgustedly at the dirt, and what he did, that is, he kicked, and suddenly I felt a hand on my shoulder. So what happened by that time? That is, someone kept his hand on his shoulder. I turned to look into the friendly blue eyes of the tall German broad jumper, and what he found, that who is that man? So when he turned around to see that person, so he looked into the blue eyes. Okay, so he looked into the blue eyes, and who was that man? He was Leslong, tall German broad jumper. That is, it is mentioned for Leslong. He had easily qualified for the finals on his first attempt, and this man, Leslong, his rival, he had easily qualified in the very first attempt for the finals. So he offered me a firm handshake. Jesse Owens, I am Les Long. I don't think we have met. He spoke English well, though with a German twist to it. So what happened? So what this other person said, that Jesse Owens, I am Les Long. That is, Les Long introduced himself and said that I don't think we have met earlier. And what Jesse Owens found, that he was able to speak English very well. Okay, and having that with a German accent twist to it. So glad to meet you, I said. So Jesse Owens replied him that I'm happy to meet you, glad to meet you. Then trying to hide my nervousness, I added, how are you? So he tried to hide his nervousness. And why he was nervous? Why Jesse Owens was nervous at this time? He was nervous because he was not able to clear for the finals in the first two attempts. Okay, so he hid this nervousness and asked that how are you? I am fine. The question is how are you? And then so Les Long said that I am fine. And then he asked to him, Jesse Owens, that the question is how are you? What do you mean? I asked. And then Les Long said that what do you mean? I asked you, how are you? Something must be eating you, he said, proud the way foreigners are when they have mastered a bit of American slang. You should be able to qualify with your eyes closed. So, what happened? That is, Les Long now said to Jesse Owens that something must be eating you, I think. Okay, what Les Long said, that something must be eating you. Something must be eating you means that is something must be troubling you, that in your mind. So when he said, so proud the way foreigners are when they have mastered a bit in the American slang. So as he was asking him in English, so he, with his voice, he found that little bit he was feeling proud as he was having that American accent. So you should be able to qualify with your eyes closed. And Les Long said to him, Jesse Owens, that you should be able to qualify for the finals with your eyes closed also, that you are such a good athlete. Then, believe me, I know it. I told him, and it felt good to say that to someone. And then what Jesse Owens said, that you believe me, I know it. That is, I know that I can easily qualify for the finals with my eyes closed. So, and after saying this, when someone asked him, and little bit when someone understood his feelings, so he felt good that someone is there to ask about his mental state, about his this. And then for the next few minutes we talked together. I didn't tell Long what was eating me, but he seemed to understand my anger and he took pains to reassure me. Although he had been schooled in the Nazi youth movement, he didn't believe in the Aryan supremacy business any more than I did. We laughed over the fact that he really looked the part, though an inch taller than I. He had a lean, muscular frame, clear blue eyes, blonde hair, and a strikingly handsome, chiseled face. Finally, seeing that I had cleaned down somewhat, he pointed to the takeoff board. Okay, now I stop here. In the next class, we will continue explanation from this paragraph.